We're Chip and Amanda Dunham from Magnolia and May Restaurant, and thank you for joining us for our Blue Note and Tattersall Distillery dinner. So you're joining us on the virtual portion of the dinner. So I'll go over the first course with you. We're doing some grilled tuna tacos with corn tortillas, and we're serving it with a pineapple and fennel salsa. And I think it really pairs very well with this cocktail because we kind of used it as a blank slate and allowed Amanda to really do what you want to do with the cocktail and still have an excellent food pairing with it.
So the cocktail is going to be Tattersall aquavit and a nice bit of their grapefruit crema to kind of give a little bit of the acidity you need to kind of cut through that fennel ginger note you're going to get in the aquavit. We're accompanying that with what we call pickled pineapple, and that essentially what we do is we pickle our own pineapple in-house for our steak sauce, and we're using that pickling liquid, which has a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of savory, and a little bit of that like allspice baking spice quality. So it kind of rounds out both those ingredients really well. This one I would not suggest serving on ice. If you want to, you're obviously welcome to, but it is a nice way to just kind of drink it as a nice little sipper to start. And it's a lower proof cocktail. But it's a good way to start. Pairs really well with tuna tacos. Chip, how do you suggest they reheat the tuna?
So we're gonna cook the tuna for you here, and we're wrapping it in aluminum foil. So if you're gonna eat it immediately after you get it home, it should be hot enough for you. But just go ahead and we cooked it a nice rare, medium rare. You can obviously cook it up, but I would warm it up in your oven if you wanted to. Just set it to like 350 and just kind of make sure it's.
So also with this course, you have a little taster of the Tattersall aquavit, and just so you can kind of see those flavors that are going on there. They really are quite proud of this product. It is so flavorful and got a lot going on. That fennel ginger really does come out. So yeah, that taster is in your box for your meal. So give that a taste and enjoy that as well, either with the cocktail or before or after, however you all want to do it.
All right, so your second course is corndog with sambal aioli. Sambal is just think of sriracha, so it's a little spicy. The corn dogs are unique not because the batter is my grandmother's cornbread recipe, and she was kind enough to pass it down to my mother, and then my mother passed it down to me. And then the tip, we didn't make a hot dog or a frankfurter. We are actually making kielbasa, which is a pork sausage flavored with oregano and garlic and mustard seeds. So that's really unique. And once again, if you're just bringing it straight home and eating, I don't think you need to reheat it at all. But go ahead and you've got your oven going already. Just toss the corn dog in there, make sure it's hot, and you should be good to go. And dip it in that aioli.
As far as the cocktail pairing, we're calling this one bread and butter. It is kind of a play on the idea that rye has a slightly pickle kind of note to it, and it also kind of goes with the idea of the corn dog. So we got some bread and butter pickle juice in there. We're going with a little bit of the Riverside rye, and we're doing a splash of Tattersall cranberry just to kind of break up that sweetness you get from our bread and butter pickle juice. With that in general, it's a really nice, easygoing drink. I know the pickle juice thing, people might be a little odd about it, but it really does great flavor to it. We also are giving you a sampler of the Riverside rye to go along with that, so you can kind of taste that on its own as well.
Well, and then this cocktail's really good. Amanda will tell you that I'm not a big fan of rye whiskey, and I'm not a fan of pickles, and I drank this drink, and it's a really good drink. I would really enjoy it again. All right, for your third course is going to be a grilled pork porterhouse. Some of you might know that more of a like T-bone steak. You can see that the bone actually looks like a capital T, and we brine that overnight in a honey ham brine, and then we cold smoke it, which that means that we are getting the smoky flavor on it without actually cooking it. So that's kind of a fun technique. And then we're doing a twice-baked praline sweet potato. Praline sweet potato is another one of my grandmother's recipes I brought to the dinner. Hers was typically like a casserole, but we've actually done a twice-baked potato, and it's topped with a little bit of praline butter. So it's I'm not going to say very sweet, but it's sweet, and it's flavored with maple syrup, pecans, and a little bit of orange zest. And then we're serving that with the sauce from one of the ingredients in the cocktail that Amanda will talk to you about.
So the cocktail pairing is called the Social Apple. It is going to be the Juke Joint Whiskey, which is kind of like their cocktail mixing whiskey from Blue Note. That is going to be accompanied by the Tattersall Pommeau, which is essentially an apple brandy of sorts. They're using some local apple cidery that's over there in Minnesota. That's going to be topped off with a little bit of walnut bitters. We're giving that a nice little shake. It's got a lot of fun flavors to it, but it's a very subtle apple aspect to it. It kind of just really complements that sauce that's coming with it. And then the spirit feature for this course is going to be the juke joint in and of itself. So you'll kind of be able to taste that. I think what's nice with the juke joint is that it's a really subtle whiskey. It's not going to be too hot. It's not going to be not going to burn you all the way back down. But it's a great little pairing there. Chip, how do you suggest they reheat the pork if they're going to reheat it?
So I would suggest reheating it in the oven again. I would put the potato and the pork on a sheet tray and just make sure it's hot. And then make sure your sauce is hot as well. You can just bring it up to a simmer on the skillet and just go over the top of the pork with it.
Alright, so for the last course we have our hot chocolate. So our hot chocolate's kind of the star of this one. We figured most people by the end of these meals are super full, so we went with a more of a liquid dessert. The hot chocolate is going to be kind of crazy and bonkers. So as far as what y'all need to do at home, your hot chocolate's going to come in a cup. Your booze is going to come in separate vessels, and you're going to pour that booze into the cup after you've heated up your hot chocolate. So for your hot chocolate, I would put it in the microwave just to nuke it. I mean, if you want to, you could also put it on the stove and bring it to a quick simmer. And then you'll pour in there a shot of bourbon and then your little shot of orange crema. That'll be labeled because we'll also have a taster portion of the bourbon. And if you want to taste it and then throw the rest in the hot chocolate, I ain't going to tell. We're going to also have a little bit of meringue that's going to be toasted on the side, and you can plop that on top. It'll kind of float. The idea is to kind of have a really fun, funky, over-the-top hot chocolate. Got a lot of fun flavors to it. The bourbon that we're featuring on this cocktail is going to be the Blue Note Single Barrel. So definitely a little hotter than the juke joint is, but it's got a lot of good flavors to it. And I mean, like I said, hot chocolate, bourbon, you really can't go wrong with that.
So the cookie is just a fun little pistachio cookie that you can just eat by itself or dunk in the hot chocolate, whatever you want to do. And I'd just like to take this time to thank you all for joining us for our first virtual dinner. I thought this was a fun way to do it, where you could kind of do it on your own time, and you didn't have to sit down for at a specific time.
Or for an hour and a half if you don't want to.
Or for an hour and a half if you don't want to. Go ahead and make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Check out our website for future events, and don't be afraid to tag us in your creations from the dinner tonight. We'd love to see what you did.
Thanks again, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy your meal.